The Netherlands Architecture Institute (NI) is a cultural institute for architecture and urban development, comprising a museum, an archive plus library, and a platform for lectures and debates. The NI was established in 1988 and has been based in Rotterdam since 1993. The NI is a private organization with a government brief, which is to manage the collection of archives that document the history of Dutch architecture. Moreover, as a sector institute for architecture, it is also tasked with supporting the professional field. The building also houses a bookshop and a cafe. History. The idea of establishing a national architecture museum came about in 1912 when the Amsterdam Architects Association Architectura at Amsterdam was obliged to rent an extra room in Hotel Park Zicht in Amsterdam to store its archive of drawings and models. Architect J.H.W. Lelyman was a key advocate of an architecture museum. A committee comprising J. Ingenol, J.H. de Groot and W.A.E. van der Pluim as members was set up to look into the possibilities of such a museum. In 1915, A members suggested storing the collection at the Rijksacademie in Amsterdam, and housing it in an independent museum at a later date. These ideas did not come to fruition. However, in the 1980s, 3 cultural institutes collaborated to form the NI. These were the Netherlands Architecture Documentation Center (NDB), the Architecture Museum Foundation (SAM), and Stichting Wanen Foundation. Following this, a controversy ensued between Amsterdam and Rotterdam as to where an architecture museum institute would have to be based. Minister Brinkman opted for Rotterdam. Previous plans to set up the NI in the vacant library at Bodersloot were abandoned. The NI found temporary accommodation in a building at Westersingle before the construction of a new building started. The building. In 1988, a competition was held among 6 architects to find an architect for a new building. These were Joe Konen, Rem Koolhaas, Bentham Krewel Architecten, W.I.M. Quist, Luigi Snozzi and Ralph Erskine. Koolhaas's design was the favorite among the specialist press and was also favored by Riek Bakker, the director of Rotterdam's Department of Urban Development. However, the NI awarded Joe Konen the commission, the decisive factors being the blending of the design into the surroundings and the references to the history of architecture. After an intensive period of renovation, the NI opened its doors on the 1st of July 2011. The most salient part of the renovation was moving the entrance to the pond level. The restaurant was extended. An exhibition room and additional space for educational activities were also added. At the site of the original entrance is now the Dodak, a hands-on area where visitors can experiment with Lego, large blocks and cutouts. As the original building's architect, Joe Konen was also responsible for its renovation. Sonneveld House Museum. Sonneveld House Museum is a house built in the New Bouen style, the Dutch branch of the International School of Modernism. It was furnished with furniture and materials made by W.H. Gispen, B. van der Leck and others. The house was designed in 1933 by architects firm Brinkman and van der Vlugt for the Sonneveld family. Albertus Sonneveld was one of the directors of the Van Nel factory. The Rotterdam Stichting Bevordering van Volkskracht, a foundation for the enhancement of popular health, welfare and culture in the city, bought the museum house in 1977. A form of collaboration has existed between Volkskracht and the NI since February 1999. The house was restored and opened to the public in 2001. The restoration work was done by architects firm Molenaar and Van Winden, with the NI taking on the refurnishing work. The collection. Private individuals started collecting architectural archives as early as the end of the 19th century. One of these was the Architecture Museum Foundation, SAM. In the 1970s, the government became interested in these archives, setting up the Netherlands Architecture Documentation Center, NDB, as part of the Rijksdienst voor de Monument en Zorg, the Netherlands Department for Conservation. When the archives were transferred to the NDB, they officially became state property. The NAI's archive collection is still a national collection. The libraries of the Academie van Bouwkunst Amsterdam, Amsterdam Academy of Architecture, the Bond van Nederlandse Architecten BNA, the Royal Institute of Dutch Architects, and Stichting Wanen, a consumer organization for information on sustainable living, were added to the NDB's collection. The collection now houses some 18 kilometers of archive material. It also contains over 500 archives and collections of Dutch architects, organizations and educational institutes in the field of architecture and urban development, and comprises drawings, sketches, models, documentation, correspondence and photos. The internationally focused library contains about 60,000 volumes. The NI houses the Stichting Bonus Foundation, Stichting Bibliografie en Erflagsen Nederlandse Architecten en Studiebouwkundigen, which translates as bibliographies and lists of works of Dutch architects and urban designers. Working on the basis of archive and literature study, this organization reconstructs the work of Dutch designers from 1790 to the present and publishes it in book form. Exhibitions. The NI organizes exhibitions about the design designed environment, about architecture, urban development, design and spatial planning. These are some of the exhibitions that were held in recent years. Polders, 2005, China Contemporary, 2006, Weideveld, Plan the Impossible, 2006, From Kuipers to Conan, 2007, Le Corbusier, 2007, Shape Our Country, 2009, Disputed City, 2010, and Architecture of Consequence, 2011. In addition to temporary exhibitions, there are two semi-permanent exhibitions, Stad van Nederland, Dutchville, and De Schatkamer, Treasury. Dutchville is about how the city is perceived and about its beautiful and slightly less appealing aspects. Opened in September 2011, the Treasury displays masterpieces from the collection in an exhibition space designed by Rem Koolhaas, which was opened in September 2011. Platform. To promote its innovation agenda, Architecture of Consequence, the NI organizes platform activities such as lectures and debates both in the Netherlands and abroad. What role can architecture play in solving social problems? This concerns topics such as food production, the social climate, renewable energy, alternative use of space, social cohesion and value creation. A matchmaking program brings together expertise on these subjects so as to find approaches to spatial tasks such as environmental issues or housing shortages. Studying and discussing these tasks puts them onto local and international agendas. The matchmaking program focuses primarily on India and China. Education. The NI offers programs for primary and secondary education. It also works with various universities and universities of applied sciences on enhancing various subjects, study assignments, excursions and guided tours. Everyone can work hands-on on the dodik using large building blocks, Lego and cutouts. Classes for children, supervised by architects and scientists, are to be held from February 2012. UAR, Urban Augmented Reality. The NI introduced UAR on the 30th of June 2010. UAR is an acronym for Urban Augmented Reality. It is a free-of-charge 3D architecture application that uses augmented reality. This means that a layer of information has been added to reality. In UAR, the existing, built environment is supplemented by a historical, a future or an alternative layer using 3D models. UAR shows us what is not there, what the city used to look like, by showing us buildings that have since disappeared, the city as it could have been, using models and drawings to display alternative designs that never made it, and the city as it will become, using artists' impressions of future projects. The collections of various institutes and heritage organizations including the NAI's own collection are used for this. UAR users can also add information to the application themselves. At present, UAR covers the cities of Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Utrecht, The Hague, Breda, Haarlem and Gouda. NAIM Bureau Europa. On the 2nd of September 2006, the NI opened an annex in Maastricht, in the Webenga, which adjoins the Bonnefanten Museum, in the Ceramiek district. As of April 2009, this NAIM Bureau Europa acquired independent status. Since 2013 the new name is Bureau Europa. NI Publishers. NI Publishers originated from the NAI's publication department but has been an independent company for 15 years now. The company specializes in publishing books on architecture, urban development, spatial planning, visual arts, photography and design. NI Publishers Bookshop was located in the NI building. July 2012 NI Publishers merged with 010 Publishers, a similar publisher, on a new location in Rotterdam. The name of the merger is NI 010 Publishers. Merger. State Secretary Halbe Zijlstra designated the NI as one of the organizations that were going to form the new Institute for the Creative Industry on the 1st of January 2013. That date the NI merged with Stichting Premcella, the Netherlands Institute for Design and Fashion, Design Sector Institute, and Virtueel Platform, e-Culture Knowledge Institute. The name of the merger is Het Nieuw Instituut, the New Institute. Board of Management and Supervisory Board. The last management of the NI comprised Ole Boeman, General Director, and Peter Haasbroek, Business Director. The members of the Supervisory Board were, Hans Andersen, Chairman, Karen Laglass, Treasurer, Jean van Heeswijk, Leon Remakers, Dirk Simons, Natalie de Vries and Joop van der Leeuw.